الحمد للہ وکفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب آمنت بالله صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين ببركة إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه صلاة وسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله صلاة وسلام عليك يا سيدي يا حبيب اللہ۔ حمد و ثنا کے بعد اس مالک و ملک کی مہربانی سے، فضل و کرم، احسان شکر سے آقا نامدار، مدینی تاجدار، حبیب کبریا، تاجدار بزم کائنات، احمد متبع حضرت محمد مصطفیٰ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی بارگاہ اقدس و انور میں ہدیہ نذرانہ گلدستہ پیش کرنے کے بعد، محترم مکرم سامعین، حاضرین، اہل اسلام، اہل سنہ و جماعت، عاشقان مصطفیٰ، محبان اولیاء، ناظرین و سامعین، ایک بار پھر ہاشمی ساؤنڈ کے ذریعے سے آپ کے سامنے حاضر خدمت ہیں۔ الحمدللہ کئی دنوں سے پروقار، پرکیف، پرنور محفل ذکر غوث اعظم جاری و ساری ہے، اور آج بھی الحمدللہ یہ وہی بہار ایک بار پھر غوث پاک کے صدقہ سے مل رہی ہے۔ آپ کی بارگاہ میں اپنی حاضری پیش کر رہے ہیں، خواہ وہ نظم کی صورت میں ہو یا نثر کی صورت میں، درس یا واز کی صورت میں، اور غوث پاک کی بارگاہ سے ہی بندہ فیض حاصل کرتا ہے۔ عاشق جو ہوتا ہے وہ پھر یہی تمنا کرتا ہے، خدا کے فضل سے ہم پر ہے سایہ غوث اعظم کا، ہمیں دونوں جہاں میں ہے سہارا غوث اعظم کا۔ جب بندہ یا جب سرکار کا امتی جب غوث پاک کا نام لیتا ہے، جب وہ غوث پاک کے تذکرے کرتا ہے، جب وہ غوث اعظم کے گیت گاتا ہے، جب وہ اپنی زبان سے یہی صدا دیتا ہے، یا غوث الاعظم دستگیر، یا غوث الاعظم دستگیر، تو رحمت کے دروازے کھل جاتے ہیں، پریشانیاں حل ہو جاتی ہیں۔ آج ہمارے گھروں میں اس چیز کی کمی ہے، اور اس چیز کو ہم نے خود پورا کرنا ہے۔ وہ ہم کیسے کریں گے؟ ابھی انشاءاللہ ان قریب کچھ ہی دنوں میں غوث اعظم شہنشاہ بغداد، پیر پیرا، میر میرا، دستگیر دو جہاں، شہنشاہ بغداد حضور شیخ سید عبد القادر جیلانی الحسنی والحسینی البغدادی رحمۃ اللہ علیہ رحمۃ واسعہ، فخر الاولیاء، امام الاولیاء، شیخ الاولیاء، سرتاج الاولیاء، آپ کا دن آنے والا ہے۔ یہی آپ کے دن ہے، لیکن جمعرات کی رات وہ رات ہے جب ہر سرکار کا عاشق، سرکار کا امتی آپ کی بارگاہ میں اپنی حاضری محبت سے اپنی حاضری پیش کرے گا، تو میری یہ ریکویسٹ ہے ہاشمی ساؤنڈ کے ذریعے سے جتنے بھی دوست احباب مائیں بہنیں یہ محفل سماعت کر رہے ہیں کہ وہ دن آنے والا ہوگا یعنی جمعرات کا دن بعد نماز مغرب آپ سے یہ گزارش ہے اپنے گھروں میں ایصال ثواب کی شکل میں نذرانہ محبت کی شکل میں خراج تحسین کی شکل میں غوث پاک کو یاد کیا جائے ختم کی صورت میں اور یارمی شریف کی صورت میں جب آپ پیش کریں گے تو غوث پاک نظر کرم فرماتا ہے نظر کرم فرمائیں گے اور نظر کرم فرما رہے ہیں وہ کیسے نظر کرم فرما رہے ہیں ولی اللہ دے مرد ناہی کر دے پردہ پوشی میاں محمد بخش صوفی ازم کا وہ عظیم صوفی شخصیت کا ایک عظیم نام ہے تاج دار وہ عظیم تصوف کا وہ بادشاہ ہے قلم وجود میں آتا ہے میاں صاحب لکھتے ہیں کہ ولی اللہ دے مرد ناہی کر دے پردہ پوشی کی ہویا جے دنیا اتو ٹر کے نال خاموشی عاشق اور سرکار کا امتی اور غوث پاک کا منگتا اور غوث پاک کا دیوانہ اور غوث پاک کا متوالا میاں صاحب میاں محمد بخش کھری کا وہ عظیم بادشاہ کھری کا تاجدار لکھتے ہیں کہ سن فریاد پیراں دیا پیرا ٹکا دینا سانو میاں صاحب میاں محمد بخش سیف الملوک لکھنے والی شخصیت کہ سن فریاد پیراں دیا پیرا دکا دینا سانو بے کساندہ والی توے شرم دیتی رہتے ہیں جتنے بھی یہ محفل سماعت کر رہے ہیں دعا گو ہیں غوث پاک کی نظر کرم کا صدقہ تمام پر خصوصی مہربانیاں فرمائے تمام کے گھروں میں خوشیاں فرمائے رحمت فرمائے رحمتوں برکتوں کا نزول فرمائے جتنے ہمارے مرحومین اس دنیا سے انتقال کر گئے ہیں یہ پورا محفل ایصال ثواب ان کی بارگاہ میں پیش کرتے مولا قبول فرما بالخصوص امیر المجاہدین سفیر عشق رسول سچے عاشق و صادق حضرت علامہ حافظ خادم حسین رضوی رحمت اللہ علیہ لاہور کا وہ عظیم منظر آپ نے دیکھا سرکار کا ہر عاشق نے وہ منظر دیکھا کہ اس عظیم انسان نے پہرا دیا نبی پاک کا نبی پاک کے نام کا اس نے پہرا دیا زندگی میں تو پھر آپ نے وہ نظارہ لاہور داتا صاحب کی نگری میں داتا گنج بخش کی نگری میں آپ نے دیکھا مینار پاکستان میں وہ کہکشاں منظر آپ نے دیکھا وہ بہاروں والا منظر آپ نے دیکھا پھر کلندر لاہوری علامہ اقبال یہی کہتے ہیں کہ اگر تم چاہتے ہو امن ہو سارے زمانے میں تو پھر یہ دولت پوشیدہ ہے محمد کے خزانے آئیے اللہ پاک کے مقدس کلام سے اس محفل کا آغاز کرتے ہیں پھر اس کے بعد آج ہمارے درمیان خوبصورت سناخان مصطفیٰ جو گلہائے عقیدت انشاءاللہ پیش فرمائیں گے اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف آمنت بالله صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللہ پاک کی مقدس کلام سے اس محفل کا آغاز ہوا خدا کا ذکر کرے ذکر مصطفیٰ نہ کرے خدا کا ذکر کرے ذکر مصطفیٰ نہ کرے، ہمارے منہ میں ویسی زباں خدا نہ کرے۔ میں ملتمس ہوں شناخوان مصطفیٰ محمد اظہر عمر سے کہ وہ تشریف لائیں اور سرکار کی بارگاہ میں اپنی حاضری پیش فرمائیں۔ آپ کوشش کریں کہ آپ اسپیکر کے بغیر سے آپ نعت پڑھیں۔ اب آپ کی آواز نہیں آ رہی، اسپیکر کے بغیر سے نعت پڑھیں آپ۔ یا رسول اللہ تیری سرکار میں جو میرا جو میرا وسلم علیک یا حبیب اللہ۔ رسول اللہ حبیب اللہ میری آنکھوں کو میرے آنکھوں کو میرے شم سو دعا کر دے عطا کر دے بابوں کی دھوپ میں کی دھوپ میں وہ سایہ زلفِ
شمسوں دگا کر دے بری جنت ہبا کر دے بری جنت ہبا کر دے نبی مختار کر دے نبی مختار کل گئے جس کو جو کل گئے جس کو جو چاہے عطا کر دے تمہارے لیے مکین و مکا تمہارے لیے چنین و چنا تمہارے لیے بنے دو تمہاری جھلک تمہاری چمک تمہاری دمک تمہاری جھلک تمہاری چمک دمک جھلک چمک تمہاری مہک زمین و فلک سما و سمک میں سکا نشا تمہارے لیے پتا چاہیے ان کو معلوم ہے غم کو کیا چاہیے میرے سرکار نے مسکرا کر کہا تو کون دیتا ہے دینے کو سچا ہمارا نبی چاہے عطا کر دے نبی مختار کل جگہ میں ان کی چلتی ہے وہ دم میں وہ دم میں کیا سے کیا کر دے زمین کر دے سوریا کو سرا کر دے نبی عطا کر دے فضا میں اڑنے والے وہ جب چاہے جسے چاہے وہ جب چاہے کر دے نبی مختار کل گئے جس کو جو چاہے جس کو جو چاہے عطا کر دے اسے دل سے جدا کر دل سے جدا کر دے پدر مادر پدر مادر برادر مالو جاؤن پر جس کو جو چاہے عطا کر دے یاور ہے وہ یاور مجھے کیا فکر جو میری خود گرفتار گرفتار بنا کر دے
ماشاء اللہ نعت رسول مقبول صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم پیش فرما رہے تھے محمد اظہر عمر صاحب، اور نعت کے ہی دوران ہماری انتہائی خوش نصیبی ہے، ہمارے درمیان آج قبلہ مولانا حافظ ڈاکٹر اطہر حسین صاحب الازہری ہمارے درمیان جلوہ افروز ہے۔ سب سے پہلے آپ کا انتہائی ممنون اور مشکور و شکریہ ادا کرتا ہوں، قیمتی وقت نکال کر تشریف لائے ہیں۔ یقیناً آپ مصروف ہوتے ہوں گے، ظاہر ہے، باقی بھی آن لائن پر ابھی آپ بھی شامل ہوتے ہیں، اور آپ کا جو پیغام محبت ہے وہ آپ پیش کرتے ہیں، اور آج ہماری خوش نصیبی ہے کہ آپ یہاں موضوع غوث اعظم پیر پیرا میرے میرا کی بارگاہ میں اپنی حاضری پیش کریں گے، انگلش کی صورت میں نثر، اور یعنی عوام کو وہ آپ وہی پیغام دیں گے جو یعنی طریقہ غوث اعظم کا تھا، جو طریقہ غوث اعظم کا تھا، اور اسی کے مطابق ہی آج انشاءاللہ آپ عوام کو محظوظ کریں گے کہ یعنی غوث اعظم کا درس کیا تھا ایجوکیشن کے حوالے سے، تاکہ یہ جو آلات جا رہے ہیں اور ہم کو چاہیے کہ غوث پاک کے طریقے کے مطابق زندگی گزاریں۔ جب ہم غوث پاک سرکار شہنشاہ بغداد کی زندگی کے مطابق زندگی گزاریں گے تو پھر حالات بہتر ہو جائیں گے۔ کمی آج جو ہے وہ یعنی ہمارے گھروں میں جو آج کمی ہے وہ آج علم کی وجہ سے ہے، علم یعنی علم نہیں ہے۔ غوث پاک کے تو ہم ان کا نام لیتے ہیں، ذکر اذکار کرتے ہیں، 11ویں شریف کرتے ہیں، لیکن نہیں، یہاں تک بات نہیں ہے۔ جناب کے ڈاکٹر صاحب موجود ہیں تو وہ آپ کو بہتر فرمائیں گے۔ میں تو صرف اتنا ہی کہہ سکتا ہوں کہ سرکار غوث اعظم نظر کرم خدارا، میری خالی جولی بھر دو، میں فقیر ہوں تمہارا، جولی کو میری بھر دو ورنہ کہے گی دنیا، جولی کو میری بھر دو ورنہ کہے گی دنیا، ایسے سخیب کا منگتا پھرتا ہے مارا مارا۔ اور میرے پیر و مرشد حجت الاسلام، مفکر اسلام، مناظر اسلام حضرت قبلہ پیر سید محمد عرفان مشدی موسوی منتظر علی کا بھی یہی مشن ہے کہ غوث پاک کا بھی نام لیا جائے، سرکار غوث پاک کے ذکر اذکار کیے جائیں، 11ویں کی جائے، لیکن غوث پاک کے نقشے قدم بھی ساتھ چلنا چاہیے۔ آپ کے جس طرح آپ نے زندگی گزاری ہے، اور ہاشمی صاحب کا یہی مطلب ہے، ان کا بھی یہی پیغام ہے کہ یہ جو یعنی 11 ڈیز کی جو سیریز ہے وہ یہی مطلب ہے کہ غوث پاک کے نقش قدم پر چلنا چاہیے۔ انتظار کی کریاں ختم، ہم یعنی اس وقت چلتے ہیں حضرت علامہ مولانا حافظ ڈاکٹر اطہر حسین صاحب الازہری کی جانب، اور آپ کے خوبصورت بیان سے انشاءاللہ مستفیض ہوتے ہیں۔
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم، الحمد للہ رب العالمین والعاقبۃ للمتقین والصلاة والسلام علی سید الانبیاء والمرسلین، اما بعد فقد قال اللہ تعالی فی القرآن المجید والفرقان الحمید، واما ما ينفع الناس فيمكث في الارض، صدق اللہ العظیم۔ ان اللہ وملائکته یصلون علی النبی يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما، اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya sayyidi ya Rasulallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya sayyidi ya Habiballah. Wajibul Ihtaram Hazrat Muhammad Faizan Irfani, our host today. Wajibul Ihtaram, respected viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakat. First, I say thanks to Muhammad Faizan Irfani for this invitation, in particular to Hashmi Sons in general. It is a wonderful sharf, it is a wonderful honor to be speaking on this platform. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abundantly reward all of the sincere Muslims involved in this project. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all of our viewers, all of our volunteers in these difficult times. It is an honor to be speaking about the Imam al-Awliya, Taj al-Muhaqqiqeen, Qudwatul Arifin, al-Ghaus al-Azam, Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani al-Hasani al-Husaini radiyallahu ta'ala an, in the blessed month of Rabi Sani, the month in which we mark his Urs Mubarak. In particular, the topic area that I have been given is not to talk necessarily about his karamats, not necessarily to talk about his wonderful teaching and about his legacy that he left behind, but to talk about the early part of his blessed life, to talk about his tarbiyah, to talk about his ta'aleem and his upbringing. And I hope, inshallah ta'ala, to do this to the best of my abilities. May Allah accept any good words that I have. May Allah forgive any shortcomings that I have. So that is my whole purpose behind it. Like our honorable host indicated in a very eloquent manner, Muhammad Faizan Irfani Sahib just said that the Khatam Sharif and the Nare of Ya Ghaus Azam is something which is very easy to do.
Allah.
It's something which takes very little effort. And it's something, alhamdulillah, even this is an indication of our faith and our mahabba for the awliya ikram. We do this. What's more difficult is to apply the teachings of Ghaus Azam. What's more difficult is to adopt the whole Qadiriyya falsafa into our lives, so that it lasts not just in the month of Rabi Sani but beyond. So what I will do is, yes, undoubtedly, like I have been instructed to do so, I will talk about the upbringing of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayh, about his ta'aleem, about the early years, the formative years of this wonderful, esteemed figure in Islam. More importantly, I hope it's inspirational as well. I hope that this talk allows myself first and foremost to get up and to want to change our lives. We are not storytellers in our religion. We don't just recall the stories of the great men of the past. We as Muslims derive inspiration from them. It gives us a spur, it gives us an incentive to want to be better people. The Prophet ﷺ always taught you and I that when it comes to religious affairs, find people who are better than you.
Inshallah.
When it comes to ibadat, when it comes to taqwa and piety, find the best possible sohbah and companionship. And if you do that, it will inspire you to perform more nawafil. It will inspire you to read more. It will inspire you to perform extra ibadats for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah accept our endeavors. Alayhi tawakkaltu wa ilayhi unib wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani al-Hasani al-Husaini radiyallahu ta'ala an was born in 471 after Hijrah, which corresponds as 1079 in the Christian era or the Common Era. 1066 is a very famous date for British history. It is the Battle of Hastings. For many historians and for many people, 1066 is an eternity away. And it is roughly at this time that this great figure of Islam was born. So straight away, what this indicates to you and I is of how long ago Shaykh Abdul Qadir lived. He lived 1,000 years ago. Yet 1,000 years later, everyone is still saying Ya Ghaus Azam. Everyone is still remembering his legacy. The Quran says مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسَ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. The things which benefit mankind, it stays on earth. So the ta'aleem, the shakhsiyat, the personality of Al-Ghaus al-Azam brought nafa to people. And this is why 1,000 years later, we are still remembering this great figure of Islam. Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani was blessed on both sides. He was Sayyid al-Hasani and Husseini. His father was a great man of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His name was Abu Saleh. His mother's name and blessed mother's name was Fatima. And she herself was a waliyatullah, a great friend and saint of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Her own father, Fatima meaning, so this is the nana of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. His name was Abu Abdullah as-Sawma'i rahmatullahi alayh, who was a famous waliyullah of that region. Sheikh Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani writes in Ghibdatun Nazir, fi tarjama Shaykh Abdul Qadir, that Abu Abdullah as-Sawma'i was mustajabud da'wah. What does that mean? It means that whenever he raised his hands in dua, then his du'as were immediately answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Subhanallah, subhanallah.
Is relating to the grandfather, the Nana Jan of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. His own mother, Fatima, rahmatullahi alayhi herself, was a great friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A story you are all familiar with, so I will not spend too much time on it. It is said, and again this is quoted by Ibn Hajar in Ghibdatun Nazir, that it is the karamat, an early miracle of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, that during the daylight hours of the month of Ramadan, Shaykh Abdul Qadir, as a young infant and as a young child, he would refuse to take milk from his blessed mother. It was as if even as a young infant, Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani was fasting during the month of Ramadan in the daylight hours. This is a karamat of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani undoubtedly. But I will add to that this is also an indication of the great piety, taqwa and karamat of his blessed mother as well. It is a reminder that, yes, this is the miracle of Shaykh Abdul Qadir, but the tarbiyah and the upbringing of this great figure was due to the piety, taqwa and ibadat of his blessed mother of Fatima. It's a reminder for you and I as well, in particular for our sisters and mothers, that during the days of pregnancy, the behavior of the mother has an impact on the child. And Ghaus Azam was able to know the difference between Ramadan and non-Ramadan, the fasting time and the non-fasting time, because he had spent 9 months in the womb of a blessed woman. Even today, and this is scientifically proven, if the mother spends the 9 months of pregnancy listening to the Holy Quran, then when the child comes into this world and hears the Tilawatul Quran, immediately the child recognizes it and develops a love for the Qira'at Quran. Likewise, and unfortunately we have to indicate this as well, if a woman has spent 9 months of pregnancy listening to the wrongful things, the evil things, then undoubtedly this will have an effect on the child later.
Allah.
So it's a lesson for us as well, that when it comes to the development of a child in the womb of the mother, the hearing is one of the first faculties to develop in a child. This is something the Quran mentions. وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَنْشَأَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ. That time and time again in the Quran, Allah indirectly mentions the sequence of what is developed first in the womb. Hearing always mentioned first. And in fact, there is one scientist, his name is Dr. Keith Moore. He wrote in an Islamic journal recently, Islamic Medical Association, that the hearing ability of a fetus develops as early as the 22nd day of pregnancy. Before the eyesight, even before the development of some parts of the heart. And this lesson is so important. Why? Because number one, it indicates that Shaykh Abdul Qadir was special from a very young age as a child. Number two, it indicates to the piety and taqwa of his blessed mother. Number three, it gives you and I a lesson for this day and age as well. that we ensure that the recitation of the Holy Quran is always in our homes. So from a tender age, Sheikh Abdul Qadir was destined for greatness. Later, and there are other indications as well that certainly suggest that he was destined to be the greatest of all of the awliya Quran. He was asked once later in his life that, Ya Shaykh Abdul Qadir, when did you know that you were a great waliullah? When did you realize that you were destined for greatness? He himself said that I was at the age of 10 that I realized that I was something special, that I was a servant who was like no other servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the ummah of Sayyiduna Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Why? Shaykh Abdul Qadir, in his own words, he said that when I used to go to the madrasa, my local madrasa in Jilan, Shaykh Abdul Qadir says, as a 10-year-old, I could feel the presence of angels walking with me to the madrasa. When I got into the madrasa, I could hear the same angels indicate and command the fellow students, Ifsahu li waliyillah, Ifsahu li waliyillah. The angels will say to the other students, move out of the way, for a waliullah is going to sit in your presence. Make space for a waliullah, for the presence of the great saint of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Shaykh Abdul Qadir, from a very early age, his upbringing, his tarbiyah was there, and all indicated that he was a special servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His father, Abu Salih, unfortunately passed away during the infancy, during the early years of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayh. So it was his blessed mother, Fatima, who shaped his early years, ensuring that she did whatever she could to support this blessed child of his. What is the starting point and what is the real spark in the life of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani and his road towards an eternity, a life of greatness and piety? In order to explain that, I'm going to mention a hadith sharif first. And inshallah ta'ala, you will understand later why I have mentioned this very important and amusing hadith sharif. Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told a story. It is a hadith sharif of Imam Tirmizi of his Sunan, that Bainama Rajulun Rakibun Bakara, that a man, he was in a farm, and for some odd reason, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created certain animals so we can ride on them. So it can transport us from place to place. Camels are obvious example, horses, donkeys to a certain extent as well. Cows are not those kind of animals where you can saddle it up and ride on it. However, the Prophet ﷺ indicated that this man, he saddled up the cow and he got onto it. And when he got onto the cow, in order to ride it like you would a horse, the bakara, the cow, actually spoke up and said, Lam ukhlaq li haza. That day, man, I haven't been created for this.
Allahu Akbar.
It was a miracle of the cow that he said to the man that, what are you doing? Lam ukhlaq li haza. I haven't been created to that. Innama khuliqtu lil hars. That I have only been created to cultivate the land, to give you milk. I have not been created to transport you. A beautiful, memorable hadith, and what the Prophet ﷺ is trying to teach you and I is never forget your asal, original function on earth.
Marhaba. Wow.
Never forget why you have been created. And the answer to that is in وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
Play, enjoy, earn money, wear nice clothes, drive the most expensive cars, live in the most lavish of mansions, but never forget your function of life. That is the purpose of this hadith sharif. And it's said in a beautiful manner that a cow is not made to saddle up and then to transport you across lands. For that, you have camels, you have horses. Use the cow for what is purposeful. But in this particular hadith, we see that the cow actually spoke. Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, as a youngster, he said that it was the day of Arafah. It was the 9th of Dhul Hijjah in one particular year, that he happened to be behind some cows. And he, in the right manner, was using the cows in the right manner, meaning he was plowing the land with it. Shaykh Abdul Qadir says in his own words that one cow turned around and said, "Oh, Sheikh Abdul Qadir, this is not what you have been created for. This is not what you have been commanded for." In other words, the cow was telling Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani that you are destined for greatness. You are not destined to work in the farmland. Immediately, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, on the same day, the day of Arafah, ran to his blessed mother and told him the story. And his blessed mother said that basically this is an indication that I must give you in the path of Allah to get education, Islamic education. To become an alim, to become a mudarris, to become a beacon of hope for the whole Muslim ummah thereafter, to be the greatest of the awliya ikram. So that was the turning point, you could say, in the academic and spiritual life of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. That encounter with an animal which was saying to him, the reason why you have been created is much higher. Thereafter, you know the story very well. At the age of about 16 or 18, with the blessings of his mother, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani left for Baghdad. He never saw his blessed mother again.
Allah.
Fatima, the mother of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, had 80 gold pieces that she had inherited from her husband. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani was given all 80 pieces by his mother. But out of the benevolence of his heart and out of understanding the situation of his mother and the other family members, although he was given 80 gold pieces, Sheikh Abdul Qadir only took 40 of them. It was stitched into the jacket of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, and as he left, the mother of Sheikh Abdul Qadir, a story I am not going to spend time on, you know the story very well, said, please promise me that have some usuls in your life, have some principles in your life, that whenever you speak, make sure it is the truth. Never deviate. The story, as you know very well, even the non-Muslims narrate the story, Allahu Akbar, that they try to enforce the importance of truthfulness. They were stopped by 60 bandits, highway robbers. They took the money from everyone. They came approached Sheikh Abdul Qadir as a young child. They asked him. He said, yes, I have 40 pieces. They could not believe it. And in the end, they did strip him. They found those 40 gold pieces. They wept in the piety and taqwa of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. They became the first murids of Sheikh Abdul Qadir.
Subhanallah.
Leader of the Dakus and the highway robbers that said that you are now our leader. So these were the first people that accepted Tawbah at the hand of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. Look, I did not spend time on this story for one particular reason. Everyone knows the story. Everyone knows the story, from the youngest to the eldest. Whether you are in Pakistan, whether you're in New York, wherever you are in the world, everyone knows this famous story of Sheikh Abdul Qadir. Do we take heed? Do we act upon it? Probably not. And I think here our host, Muhammad Faizan Irfani, mentioned this, and I will keep returning to this. It's all about amal, really. It's all about not what we learn about the life of Sheikh Abdul Qadir, it's what we can act upon as well. And it's a reminder today of how important truthfulness is. Respected viewers, one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Haq, which means the truth.
Subhanallah.
Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam never told a lie in his entire life. This goes before Nabuwah, it goes after Nabuwah. The likes of Abu Jahl, the likes of Abu Lahab called our messenger everything under the sun, but they never called him a liar. Sayyiduna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam never lied in public, he never lied in private. He never lied in his normal conversation, he never lied in his joking as well. The one area where people most lie is when they are joking. Our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam never lied even when he was joking. In our ulums, in our Islamic disciplines, lying is the worst crime. What I mean by that, especially in the field of ilm al-hadith, hadith narration, you can be many things, but if you are a liar, there is no space for you in the discipline of ilm al-hadith. Sayyiduna Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam said, Man kadhiba alayya muta'ammidan falyatabawwa maq'adahu minan nar. That whosoever lies upon me deliberately, then he finds his place in the fire of hell. He should be ready for it. So I am reminding you, I don't need to inform you, we all know about this, is that our religion is completely against the liars. We do not need liars to promote our religion. Because of technology and because of the way that technology is now, lying, the difference between sidq and kizb, truth and falsity, is becoming blurred. Today, WhatsApp is full of messages, full of dubious videos, some of them which are supposedly promoting Islam, but the means by which it's doing it is a blatant lie. Ahadith are being fabricated.
Besha.
This is totally wrong. And the people behind this, they say that, well, we are doing this for a higher purpose. We are doing this for the promotion of Islam. Allahu Akbar, our religion does not need liars. Islam aside, look at the higher and the bigger political, social, and economical climate at this moment in time. Fake news is a serious problem today. And it is a serious problem purely because truthfulness has been compromised. State leaders, politicians, TV personalities, they think that it is okay to lie if it is to serve a higher purpose. There is no such concept of that in our religion. So please, everyone knows the story about the highway robbers. How much have we acted upon it? This is an entirely different story altogether. May Allah allow myself to always tell the truth. May Allah allow everyone to always speak the truth, following the sunnah of Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayhi reached Baghdad, then undoubtedly his early years as a student, his early years as someone who wanted to seek the ulooms, it was marked with hunger, loneliness, struggle, hardship. There were imtihanats, there were trials, there were tribulations. Shaykh Abdul Qadir, in his own words, and this is taken from Ghibtatun Nazir, he said that sometimes I would go 20 days without food or anything to eat. Sometimes he says that for one whole year, Shaykh Abdul Qadir says, I never had a fresh meal for a whole year. The only thing I was eating was the things that other people had thrown away in their dustbins. And I would pick that up and I would eat that. He himself said that I was sleep deprived. Many times he could not even find water to drink. Shaykh Abdul Qadir, in his own words, says that I would feed off the patte, the greenery, the grubs, basically, the kind of food, lettuce that was washed up on the side of the river Tigris in Baghdad. The remains. Normally that kind of food you associate with goats eating, with dogs and cats eating. Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayhi says that in my early part of my life, this was the only thing that came my way. So this great Waliullah, the one who proudly said, Qadami hazihi ala raqabati kulli waliyillah, that this line is on the neck of every saint of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please never forget the amount of struggle, hardship, trial, and tribulations he went through. He walked barefooted in the wilderness for sometimes months and years. No one knew him. He didn't know anyone whatsoever. All of this changed, and a better situation came about when he met a great sheikh and a great mudarris, perhaps a qutb of his time, Hamad al-Dabbas rahmatullahi alayhi. That Shaykh Abdul Qadir, in his own words, says that owing to the hardship, owing to the struggles in my studies, in my health, he wanted to leave Baghdad. So one day he had his bag with him, he flipped it over his shoulders, and he headed for the Halba gate on the outskirts of Baghdad with the intention of basically leaving Baghdad once and for all. Without seeing a figure and only hearing a voice, someone, Shaykh Abdul Qadir himself explains, shouted out to me and said, Ya Abdul Qadir, where are you going? Where do you think you are going? That person, although he did not see his face, he pushed him to the ground, Shaykh Abdul Qadir, And he said, you are not leaving Baghdad, back to Baghdad. Sheikh Abdul Qadir tried to explain that, what do I have to do with the people? I only want to save myself. This unknown voice said, go back to Baghdad, for the safety of your religion lies in going back to Baghdad. In that particular state, Sheikh Abdul Qadir, that man disappeared. He said, I'm confused. I wish someone would explain matters to me. I wish someone would come to me and say what is going on, because I cannot understand what is going on. Well, he said that the very next day, what happened is that he was working in a district of Baghdad called Zafariya. And as he did so, a man opened the door. And in the door, when he opened it, he said, Ya Abdul Qadir, come in. What did you ask for yesterday? Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, at that particular moment, he was confused. He had no idea what this person was. The man behind the door became angry. He shut the door. Later, once Sheikh Abdul Qadir had moved on, he realized that Allahu Akbar, only yesterday I prayed to Allah that please send someone to explain matters to me. Please send someone who will explain to me what is going on in my life. And now, only moments ago, I just met someone unknown to me who opened the door for me and said that, what is it that you requested? Perhaps Allah has sent him. Sheikh Abdul Qadir went running back. At that particular time, he could not find him. But later, a few days later, he found the individual in question. His name was Hamad ad-Dabbas. He became the murshid of Sheikh Abdul Qadir. He explained to him everything he needed to know. He explained the inner ulums, he explained the outer ulums. He gave him the pyar and he gave him the mar. And this is a very important thing that I just said. As a teacher, and I am a mudarris myself, we give a lot of mahabba to our students. But when time comes, we are very strict with them as well. We ensure utmost discipline. We go down heavy with them when they haven't done their work. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, he took the pyar from his teacher, the love, he took the mar, he took the beats as well.
Allahu Akbar.
It's a correct formula. If you are a student of knowledge, you have to be willing to take both from your teacher. You accept the praise, but sometimes when he is critical of you, you have to take that as well. So yes, undoubtedly, this was a loving figure in the life of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, rahmatullahi alayh. Read the biography. He also troubled him a lot. He gave him a hard time as well. Later, Sheikh Abdul Qadir in his life, he met another great individual called Yusuf, who again was perhaps known as a Qutb of that time. Again, this was the man who took him under his wings, who taught him everything he needed to know, who made him understand all of the difficult parts of the ulum. And it was he that gave him the encouragement to become a teacher, to become a preacher in the streets of Baghdad. Initially, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani did not want to do that. He said that I am a Persian. How am I going to preach the people of Baghdad full of Arabs? And it was Yusuf rahmatullahi alayh who said to him that no, you have the ability, you have the outer ulums, you have the inner ulums, so that you can teach the best of people here in Baghdad, even the great ulama-i-kiram. And thereafter, after a very prolonged period, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayh became a teacher. Many ulama-i-kiram were giving fatwas at the age of 15, the likes of Ala Hazrat rahmatullahi alayh. Many awliya-i-kiram were performing great things at the age of 7 or 8. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayh did not teach anyone for the first 50 years of his life. He perfected himself first, then he tried to perfect others. He concentrated on himself, then he concentrated on others. Even in that, perhaps is a very, very important lesson for you and I. There's just one or two points that I want to mention. I have taken a lot of your time. The 2 points I want to mention is about, number one, education, and number two, about the whole lesson of Sheikh Abdul Qadir, in particular, the early formative years. Sociologists, those who are experts in education as well, they talk a lot about what's called the hidden curriculum. When you and I went to school, when our youngsters and when our daughters and sons go to school, then there is the official outward curriculum. And what is that basically? Is what you're taught in school. You taught English, you taught maths, you taught science, you taught religious studies, you taught Spanish, and so forth. This is the outer curriculum. Sociologists and educational experts, they also say there is a hidden curriculum. What is the hidden curriculum? It's not what you learn in the books, it's what you learn from your teacher. It's what you learn from the mahol and the climate. It's what's taught indirectly. For example, you are never taught a lesson about queuing up, but the hidden curriculum, because you queue up in the morning, when you go into lessons, when you go into the canteen, the hidden curriculum is to teaching you to be disciplined when you stand in a line in a queue.
In order, yes.
This is what's called the hidden curriculum.
Mashallah.
In our madaris, no ustad has ever sat down and taught me that you must stand for your teacher. Amalan, however, the hidden curriculum is always geared towards the respect of the teachers.
Adab. Wow.
This is called the hidden curriculum. Algebra is taught in our schools. This is the official curriculum. The hidden curriculum of algebra and the higher purpose of it, many people don't understand. It's about problem solving. It's about breaking things down. This is a skill that helps you later in your life. I will say, and this is certainly reflective in the story of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayh, the best hidden curriculum is always found in the madrasas and in the Darul Ulums. Right now, because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown, many of our youngsters have been deprived of madrasas up and down the country. This for us is a very critical time in the iman of our children, because they are missing out on the hidden curriculum which is taught in the madrasa. Madrasa is not just about learning Yasal Quran, learning the last 10 surahs, how to read salah. When our youngsters go to madrasa, they learn about the adab of the masjid automatically. They learn how to sit in front of a teacher. They learn discipline and they learn the importance of silence. These skills are disappearing because of the lockdown. And these cannot be replicated in our homes. So the hidden curriculum in Darul Ulums and in madrasas, the like of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayhi proves, is always the best. And certainly those people who have been to Darul Ulum, who have studied Dars Nizami will tell you this. The last thing, and inshallah ta'ala, I will ask you ijazat after this, is look, we all know that Shaykh Abdul Qadir reached an unbelievable height. That after the Sahaba Ikram, after the Prophets ﷺ, the highest genre of people in our religion are the Awliya Ikram. And of the Awliya Ikram, Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayhi was the greatest.
Bishop.
And that is reflected in that beautiful saying, Qadami hazihi ala raqabati kulli waliyillah. People forget the hardship, the struggle, the trials, the tribulation, the hunger, and the thirst that went with it. Inna ma'al usri yusra. That indeed with hardship only then comes ease. Shaykh Abdul Qadir reached elated heights, but he started from the bottom, he went through great difficulties. This is a lesson for you and I. I mean, we are undoubtedly going through difficult times. 2020, we don't need reminding, has been an unbelievably difficult time for many of us. It has tested us in many ways. But please, never give up on the rahmah of Allah. Never despair.
Subhanallah.
Hardship is making you stronger. It is empowering you. In the season of Rabi'ul Sani, please look at the figure of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani, read about his early life. And this difficulty, this usr, this hunger, this thirst, this sleeplessness, what did it make him as a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It made him one of the highest servants ever. So we need more resilience. We need more bardasht. We need more sabr.
Sabr. Wow.
And understand that the hardship that Allah is putting us through, it is part of Allah's plan to strengthen us, to give us more himmat, to give us spiritual strength in a time where spirituality has disappeared. Your answers, and again this is the teachings of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayhi, they are not found in the material. All of the material problems in the world today have spiritual answers. So these difficulties we sometimes go through, the lockdown, the job, the difficulties, the inability to meet and greet people, undoubtedly the problems with coming to the masjid. This is a trial, this is a tribulation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We embrace these. We do this knowing that it will strengthen our iman, it will strengthen our hearts. And certainly in the month of Rabi Usani, we take inspiration from the great Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sins. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen our hearts. Ameen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ جزاک اللہ خیرہ.
ایمان افروز بیان آپ سماعت فرما رہے تھے حضرت مولانا حافظ ڈاکٹر اطہر حسین صاحب الحضری غوث پاک کے حوالے سے، علم کے حوالے سے، اور آپ نے کیسی زندگی گزاری ہے. اللہ پاک ہم سب کو اس پر عمل کرنے کی توفیق عطا فرمائے. میں گزارش کروں گا آخر میں قبلہ علامہ صاحب سے کہ آپ خصوصی دعا فرمائے. جتنے بھی دوست احباب یعنی ہاشمی ساؤنڈ کے ذریعے سے یہ پوری محفل دیکھ رہے ہیں، اور بالخصوص اصحال ثواب یہ جو محفل ہے، یہ امیر المجاہدین سچے عاشق و صادق رسول سفیر عشق رسول حضرت علامہ حافظ خادم حسین صاحب کے لیے خصوصی دعا فرمائیں.
اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصلي عليه. اللهم أوصل تمام ما قرأنا على نبيك وحبيبك محمد المصطفى وعلى آل المصطفى، ثم على سائر الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى عبادك الصالحين، ثم على سائر الصحابة والتابعين ومن بعدهم إلى يوم الدين، خصوصا ثم على علامہ الشیخ الحافظ خادم حسین رضوی رحمۃ اللہ علیہ الى یوم الدین. اللهم نور قبره الى يوم الدين. اللهم اجعل قبره روضة من رياض الجنة. اللهم ارزقه شفاعة النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم يوم القيامة. اللهم ارزقنا شفاعته يوم القيامة. اللهم اجعلنا من التوابين واجعلنا من المتطهرين. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. يا رب بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا وإننا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه ونور عرشه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
جزاک اللہ. السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ.